I was reflecting the other day on just how grateful I am for my life at the moment, and just how privileged I feel to live in a way in which I want to live, and a way that I consider meaningful and fulfilling for me. It made me realise that about 10 years ago, I watched a YouTube video of a university address given by Tim Minchin.
So listen up.
And it was 9 life lessons. And I was just thinking about it the other day, and I don't know why, but then I went back and watched it, and I was like, wow, I didn't even realise, but I have followed all of those lessons without I remember it really resonating with me at the time, but I didn't purposely go, I'm going to do all those things. It just really sat with me really well. And they've really just become the foundation of my mindset, I think, and the way that I live. Obviously, I've upgraded and updated since then, but from that time, when I think about it, watching that video transformed my life and led me in the direction that I'm at now. So I thought I'd share them with you as well, and hopefully they can help you in the same or similar way that they did for me. Just a few simple shifts in your mindset can really transform and lead to a much more fulfilling life. Here are 9 life lessons from Tim Minchin. So I'm actually going to play through them from him and then break down how I experienced them and what sort of happened in my life in the last 10 years. Hi, my name is Kiara. I am an Olympian and mindset coach, and I'm on a mission to help people live more fulfilling and meaningful lives through self-determination.
1. You don't have to have a dream. Americans on talent shows always talk about their dreams. Fine, if you have something you've always wanted to do, dreamed of, like in your heart, go for it. After all, it's something to do with your time, chasing a dream, and if it's a big enough one, it'll take you most of your life to achieve, so by the time you get to it and are staring into the abyss of the meaninglessness of your achievement, you'll be almost dead, so it won't matter. I never really had one of these dreams, and so I advocate passionate dedication to the pursuit of short-term goals. Be micro-ambitious. Put your head down and work with pride on whatever is in front of you. You never know where you might end up. Just be aware the next worthy pursuit will probably appear in your periphery, which is why you should be careful of long-term dreams. If you focus too far in front of you, you won't see the shiny thing out the corner of your eye.
So this was the first and biggest one for me. I think growing up, I don't know if I got it from my parents or just society or whatever, but I did think that you had to have a bigger purpose in life, and you had to have something that you were really chasing after and really thought out what you were going to do. And now when I think about it, that's actually a ridiculous concept. If you really think about it, no shade to whoever has done that, but if you think about it, right? So you're a completely different person now than you were a year ago or 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And that means you're going to be a completely different person in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. And so I'm not really sure why we're encouraged to make plans for a version of ourselves we haven't even stepped into yet. We don't even know. We're going to know so much and learn so much that that's going to be an updated version of ourselves who's going to want different things, who's going to be capable of different things. So why would we make a plan so far in the future based on our limited understanding of life in the world now? If you think about that as so limiting. And so being micro-ambitious is the biggest thing that I took on, and it's you work hard at what you want at the time, but if you don't want it, you can update what you want, because why should you stay in the same thing for your whole life just because you said that you would do it at I don't know, 20 years old, 17 years old, some people decide what they want to do. That's silly. Why would as a 30, 40, 50-year-old, you probably wouldn't listen to life advice from a 17-year-old because you obviously have experience. And so don't be scared to change your opinion. Don't be scared to change what you thought you wanted and what you want to do. And really embodying this has been nuts for me. If I really think about it, when I moved to Perth, I had a plan to conservation and wildlife biology. I wanted to either work in a zoo or I wanted to move to Borneo and work with orangutans, which obviously would have been awesome. But what I did is I started athletics, and that led me down a completely different path, changed me into a completely different person. Then following athletics then led me to move states, and then the lockdown led me to take an opportunity to do a different sport, and then that led me to the Olympics. Like it was ridiculous. And so if I had stuck to my plan at the start, I just would have missed all of those opportunities. Being micro-ambitious, but then taking the opportunities that come in the periphery. Constantly check yourself. Check that you're not limiting yourself to a plan that you made a long time ago. It's okay to let those go and update what you want. You don't always have, like, commitment is important, yes, but not at all cost.
2, don't seek happiness. Happiness is like an orgasm. If you think about it too much, it goes away. Keep busy and aim to make someone else happy, and you might find you get some as a side effect.
I don't know if I already had this one in my psyche already, but I certainly, for what I can remember, so I don't know if I adopted it here or before then, but I've never really chased happiness, because I believe happiness is an emotion like sadness or, you know, joy, you know, grief, like every emotion you have in different situations. So you can have a general sense that you're happy, or think about actual specific happiness as you don't want to objectify things, right? You don't want to think I am trying to find happiness. It's not like a brick. You can't find it. It's not lost. It's an experience that you have. And so people are so fixated on trying to find it that they miss it when it's there, because they're still trying to find something rather than just experience something. The same as love. Like, people are trying to find love. Like, you experience love and you give love and you share love. Like, you don't find it. And also giving to other people and trying to make other people happy and stuff, not at cost to yourself, not like overworking yourself, but genuinely investing in other people's happiness as well as your own. You might get some as a side effect.
3, remember, it's all luck. You are lucky to be here. You are incalculably lucky to be born, and incredibly lucky to be brought up by a nice family that helped you get educated and encouraged you to go to uni. Or if you were born into a horrible family, that's unlucky, and you have my sympathy, but you're still lucky. Lucky that you happen to be made of the sort of DNA that went on to make the sort of brain which, when placed in a horrible childhood environment, would make decisions that meant you ended up eventually graduating uni. Well done you for dragging yourself up by your shoelaces, but you were lucky. You didn't create the bit of you that dragged you up. They're not even your shoelaces. Understanding that you can't truly take credit for your successes, nor truly blame others for their failures, will humble you and make you more compassionate. Empathy is intuitive, but is also something you can work on intellectually.
I did note that I do tend to reference luck a lot. I work really hard at what I want and what I'm interested in, but I do appreciate that I'm very, very fortunate. I'm very, very lucky to be in the situation that I'm in the family that I've got, with the opportunities that I've been given. There's a huge amount of luck to it. But I think when you make that shift into recognizing the luck, then you start to receive it more. You start to kind of be in more lucky situations. I'm not sure if that's a gratitude thing or not, but it really does change things. And maybe you're not trying to force things so much anymore, but understanding that you can't truly take credit for all your success, and you can't like truly blame others for their failures. That also gives you a level of compassion and understanding that of other people's fortune or misfortune. I think it gives you an ability to hold space for others, and I think I've developed that a bit better over the years. It's still something that I'm working on, but I think this might have been, that's maybe the attitude that has allowed me to do that. 4, exercise. I'm sorry, you pasty pale smoking philosophy grads, arching your eyebrows into a Cartesian curve as you watch the human movement mob winding their way through the miniature traffic cones of their existence. You are wrong and they are right. Well, you're half right. You think, therefore you are, but also you jog, therefore you sleep, therefore you're not overwhelmed by existential angst. You can't be can't, and you don't want to be. Play a sport, do yoga, pump iron, run, whatever, but take care of your body. You're going to need it. Most of you mob are going to live to nearly 100, and even the poorest of you will achieve a level of wealth that most humans throughout history could not have dreamed of. And this long, luxurious life ahead of you is going to make you depressed. But don't
despair. There is an inverse correlation between depression and exercise. Do it. Run, my beautiful intellectuals, run.
Exercise is literally the thing that did save me for a long time. I had a lot of, which I didn't realize at the time, but it was very high functioning anxiety. My head was always full of thoughts, like constant overthinking, overanalyzing, over-preparing. I was in constant flight or fight mode, and doing sport really calmed my mind. It's enough concentration to not be in your head about other things, but it's also not too much to overwhelm you, because you get in habits of drills and things like that, so you have to focus on what you're doing, but it's not so draining. And so I really found almost a meditative space by doing sport. And I think sport is the biggest contributor to who I am, and I'm so grateful that I found it, and found it in the way that I did and met the people that I did, because it's really elevated my life and allowed me to expand into spaces that I just never thought were available to me before. I grew up in a really small country town, and I think sport has given me opportunities that I didn't quite really know existed when I was growing up.
5. Be hard on your opinions. A famous bon mot asserts that opinions are like assholes, and that everyone has one. There is great wisdom in this, but I would add that opinions differ significantly from assholes, and that yours should be constantly and thoroughly examined. We must think critically and not just about the ideas of others. Be hard on your beliefs, take them out onto the veranda and hit them with a cricket bat. Be intellectually rigorous, identify your biases, your prejudices, your privileges.
I love this one. Being hard on your opinions, but having the ability to change it is so important. I used to be really, really stubborn, like really stubborn. But you need to live by something, right? Like you can't really operate if you don't have opinions and things like that. You need to be open to other people's opinions and continuously update your map of the world and what you think of the world and your beliefs. Really investigate the reasons behind your opinion, and if they're actually your opinions or not, or if you've adopted them from somewhere else or somewhere along the line, because a lot of our opinions obviously are held in our belief system, which a lot of people don't examine. You've created that through your lifetime, and most of them were adopted from people that you've grown up with, and mentors and family. And being hard on your opinions and knowing how you formed them and why you have them, and if you actually want those opinions, I think is really important and a really valuable way to look at the world.
6. Be a teacher. Please, please, please be a teacher. Teachers are the most admirable and important people in the world. You don't have to do it forever, but if you're in doubt about what to do, be an amazing teacher. Just for your 20s, be a teacher. Be a primary school teacher, especially if you're a bloke. We need male primary school teachers. Even if you're not a teacher, be a teacher. Share your ideas. Don't take for granted your education. Rejoice in what you learn and spray it.
I come from a whole family of teachers. When I was growing up, I did not want to be a teacher. As I got a little bit older, to my early teens and stuff, I thought that's quite a good profession to have. Like if you have a family, you get the kind of holidays with your kids. My parents were both like really passionate and really wonderful teachers. I did think I will get teaching as a backup or as something that I might do in my later life. But I actually wasn't going to do it straight away after uni. I was like, I'll do that as a mature age person. I'll go and do my stuff with animals first and then maybe come back to university. But I think after I watched this, I was like, you know what, that's a good idea. In my 20s, maybe I'll be a teacher. I had also started sport at that time, so it was a really good profession to have while I was doing sport. I could do relief teaching, substitute teaching, and I could also do sport or part-time teaching. And so I was a teacher in my 20s. I'm not a teacher anymore, but take what you know and spray it. It's something I use a lot in my language. I think we've almost been trained to gatekeep, like especially in the Western world. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but like it's almost like we're always pinned against each other. We're always ranked against each other. Like our university ranking system is literally a percentage of where you rank compared to everyone else in the state. So we're constantly encouraged to always compare ourselves to others and where you sit compared to others, rather than celebrating our own strengths and celebrating other people's strengths and supporting them in their weaknesses, and they can support us in ours. And so what people tend to do is they hold on to things that they learn because they don't want other people to have what they have, because you need to kind of, we've been trained to be better than people, to get better than people, to excel above people. And I think that's really not okay. And so anything that you learn and anything that you find beneficial, I think you should teach it. And like this, I really loved this. This is actually one thing of this specifically that I've been putting into practice consciously throughout the last decade. Take what you know and spray it. Give it to whoever wants it. If you can make someone else's life easier with what you know, let them know. Like, why wouldn't you want to do that for someone? I got a little bit too far the other way with this, and I was like almost like, I was like a know-it-all. Like I gave people too much, and I was like too invasive in their space there. I was giving people, I was teaching people things that they didn't care about. And so, you know, only give people what they want, you do. And I'm still learning this actually, because I get so excited about things that I'm passionate about and that have helped me so much. And I want other people to have it, but like, they don't necessarily have to want it. Like, why would, everyone's not like me. So I really need to hold myself back on that stuff, because I'm so excited to teach people what I've learned and what's benefited me. But sometimes you need to just chill be.
7. Define yourself by what you love. I found myself doing this thing a bit recently where if someone asks me what sort of music I like, I say, well, I don't listen to the radio because pop song lyrics annoy me. Or if someone asks me what food I like, I say, I think truffle oil is overused and slightly obnoxious. And I see it all the time online, people whose idea of being part of a subculture is to hate Coldplay or football or feminists or the Liberal Party. We have a tendency to define ourselves in opposition to stuff. As a comedian, I make my living out of it. But try to also express your passion for things you love. Be demonstrative and generous in your praise of those you admire. Send thank you cards and give standing ovations. Be pro stuff, not just anti stuff.
Defining yourself by what you love, I find this really beautiful, and I didn't realise until I went back and watched this video that this is something I do. Like, I don't have a lot of negative comparison to anything anymore. I think I used to. The more you do it, the more you do it. And so really, you don't have to be against something or someone to be pro something else. You're allowed your opinions and they're allowed theirs, and it's really healthy for people to be different and to have their own opinions and to have that discussion and to be able to learn stuff and analyze stuff and experience things. So you don't have to be anti stuff to connect with people. Be pro stuff, not just anti stuff. And also being demonstrative in your praise of others. Like, I was terrible at this, and I'm still not natural at this, but I do make an effort to let people that I love know that I love them. And when I'm thinking of them, I send the little text that's like, hey, just thinking of you. I thought that was ridiculous before. I'm like, there's no depth to that conversation. I don't have time to invest in that actual conversation, but just letting people know that you think about them and that they're important to you is really important. And you often, well, I did anyway, or I noticed that a lot of people, they would talk really highly of other people in their lives, but very rarely do you say that same praise to the person that you're talking about. You kind of assume that they already know it. And it is weird when you start doing it directly to those people, but I think it's really important to let people know how much you value them, how much you admire them, what they do for you, what they give you, and I think that's really special, and I think it's a really beautiful thing to be able to do it.
Respect people with less power than you. I have in the past made important decisions about people I work with, agents and producers, big decisions, based largely on how they treat the wait staff in the restaurants we're having the meeting in. I don't care if you're the most powerful cat in the room, I will judge you on how you treat the least powerful. So there. 9, finally, don't rush. You don't need to already know what you're going to do with the rest of your life. I'm not saying sit around smoking cones all day, but also don't panic. Most people I know who were sure of their career path at 20 are having midlife crises now. I said at the beginning of this ramble, which is already 3.5 minutes long, that life is meaningless. It was not a flippant assertion. I think it's absurd, the idea of seeking meaning in the set of circumstances that happens to exist after 13.88 billion years worth of unguided events. Leave it to humans to think the universe has a purpose for them. However, I am no nihilist. I'm not even a cynic. I am actually rather romantic. And here's my idea of romance. You will soon be dead. Life will sometimes seem long and tough, and God, it's tiring. And you will sometimes be happy and sometimes sad, and then you'll be old, and then you'll be dead. There is only one sensible thing to do with this empty existence, and that is fill it. Not fill it, fill it. And in my opinion, until I change it, life is best filled by learning as much as you can about as much as you can, taking pride in whatever you're doing, having compassion, sharing ideas, running, being enthusiastic. And then there's love and travel and wine and sex and art and kids and giving and mountain climbing. But you know all that stuff already. It's an incredibly exciting thing, this one meaningless life of yours. Good luck, and thank you for indulging me.
And obviously I'm not old by any stretch now, I'm 32. But as I got older, I think in your 20s, or at least for me anyway, I did feel a little bit rushed. Like you kind of feel like you need to figure things out, which is a bit silly, because if you really think about how long life is, you don't need to have it all worked out. Like explore things, like find out who you are, find out what you're interested in, find out what you love, and you don't need to rush it. There's no reason why you should have to rush it. So that's it. That's my experience watching this video. I really hope that you found it valuable. I hope that you can adopt some of these things, and I hope those shifts lead you to as much peace and fulfillment as it has for me. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing and following along. You can follow along and watch in real time as I create my own business online from scratch whilst I'm doing elite sport, and you can see how I go with it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.